17 feet to 27.81 on the left-hand side, and from 10.2 to 21.64 on the right side. So it's a significant narrowing and putting a little more airspace between structures.
So the project's increasing the side yard setback.
That's correct. And that is a very important positive criteria here.
Any other questions from board members? Do you have any questions from the public? Do I have any comments from the public? Okay, I'm gonna close the public portion. Do I have any comments from board members?
I think this ordinance is under review because of some of the comments that have been made to us from the public, that there is some tweaking needed, and I think there is some tweaking underway, but it's not tweaked yet. But I think the explanation was sufficient for me to support this application, that it is a modest ask. It is consistent with the other houses in the neighborhood when you drive around. So I would be comfortable approving this application.
I would also be comfortable with it. You're increasing, you're reducing even more this front yard setback and also giving us more side yard setbacks on both. For the reasons that Regina stated, as well as this ordinance being looked over, I have no problem supporting this application.
Yep, agreed.
Would anyone like to make a motion?
Motion to approve the application for calendar number 4002-24.
Second.
Joseph Becker,
Yes.
Chandra Varjani,
Yes.
Amy Lawrence,
Yes.
Karen Wilson,
Yes.
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
Thank you, board.
Good luck with your family.
good luck.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you for your time.
Good
And
luck to your husband's flight.
I didn't know it's volunteer to come, but I was
Oh,
looking
she was
forward.
asking how
I
you get
said,
on board with
wow,
this.
how can people spend so much time? That's like amazing.
I don't think it on the train, he's really stuck.
Wow.
Take a train. Use a train ride.
Okay, last up, we have calendar 4001-24. The property location is 1 Allen Drive. The applicant is DJ Nambiar and Ashley Boudet. Mr. Quest will come up and we'll get sworn in.
Thank you again.
I'm ready for anything, kind of.
Name and
Timothy Plessy, 38 Chapman Road, Shores.
I'm PVJ, 1 Allen Drive, Shores.
You're ready? If you're planning to speak.
Yeah,
Sure.
she's just going to talk a little bit about our kind of
Okay.
humble.
Sure, my name is Ampli Vijay. Lovely to meet you all. My husband is traveling, so he couldn't be here, but I feel like we did all the thinking together, so I should be able to answer any questions that you have. We live in 1 Allen Drive. We moved a couple of years back. My sister and her family lives like a couple blocks down, so we pretty much saw the house and bought it. We even didn't walk inside because we didn't know the neighborhood. And you know, my kids grow up with her twins, so it's kind of a perfect situation for us. We love the town. My kids go to the public school here. Right now, as we start living in the house, we're figuring out we need this, that, etc. So we waited a couple of years to just consolidate our thoughts, and I think now is the time when we would want to do a couple of things so that it just becomes more of a permanent state of affairs. We've discussed our ideas with Tim. Pulled his brain in a little bit to kind of get everything on the paper. We're really excited about the project, but I think we have a few things to discuss. So happy to answer any questions. I've not been through this process before, so please help me navigate.
I just need a second. So you could go.
Oh, sorry.
No, you can come over.
Okay.
Okay,
What are your qualifications, please?
I'm a licensed architect, and my license is in good standing. I've appeared in front of this board on numerous occasions and other boards in kind of the, sort of the tri-state area, I guess, at this point. And that's it, I guess. My license is actually in good standing, the truth. Okay.
Your qualifications have been accepted.
Thank you.
Proceed.
Okay, yeah, it's an R4 zone. It's Allen Drive. It's right on the corner of Allen Drive and Farley. And you've probably been up Farley. You can see there's been a lot of work on Farley lately, you know. And this is on the corner, kind of right by, sort of adjacent to where a lot of that work's occurred. We have a couple of variances that we're seeking tonight. And I'm going to go to what we called our DOA 1 sheet, should be your cover sheet. And that is, was really done by the engineers for us. And because we have a little bit of regrading work that's going on this site also. So I'm on my DOA 1, and it's really a corner lot. It starts kind of with Allen Drive this way, coming up across the bottom of the sheet.
Can you maybe push the plan sort of toward the middle a little bit so it's.
I know, I don't know why this thing is so short. Got it?
Can board members see?
Yeah.
Better?
I can see it better.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to.
I can see less of
So
it.
you had it
Do
perfect
you want to
before.
put it maybe to the side that we usually put it
Okay.
on, where then I think everyone can see it?
Sorry again. I was thinking about the greater good.
Yes. Okay, are we good?
You guys okay over there?
Good.
Priscilla Crum.
Yeah, no, I'm good.
You okay? I don't want to forget about you over there. So but really how this site is going is it's Farley on the vertical, and then it's Allen Drive going up the side. And Allen Drive's a little cul-de-sac. There's actually the house next door here is a through site that's coming from, I think Old Short Hills Road. It's a little house that's tucked in the corner. I'll show it to you in a second on the tax map. And then there's maybe 3 more houses up Allen Drive. You know, we have kind of a bad lot, right? Everybody, I guess it's kind of known that a corner lot is sort of not the greatest lot, right? Because it doesn't have a traditional backyard. What we're trying to do really is create a backyard sort of space for the kids, really. So we have a steep slope area up along the top of this site, right? When you're going uphill, going up Farley, up to Old Short Hills Road. And we're regrading, you can see we're putting in walls or existing walls are in place where the site was already previously a little bit regraded. And we came down, now I'm going to go to my proposed plan, which is the bottom one. We've kind of cleaned up those walls and built a retaining wall across the back side of the property, went around a large tree that's back here in the corner, came down, split into 2 walls as we turn the side, because, you know, as soon as we break the plane of the building, which the engineers gave us a faint line right there, you can see it. As soon as we break the plane, we can't have a wall greater than 2 feet high, right? It's the maximum wall height in a legal front yard. And as soon as we break the plane of the building, that whole thing is a front yard. And also going up Farley is also a front yard for us. So we came and then we come across the front of the property here. We have a 2-foot high wall coming across the front. And then so all complies. In front of that wall we have a 4-foot fence that comes up and comes and ties to the edge of our new building. So that's really that fence coming this way. I don't know how to, it's an open 4-foot high fence, needs a variance. It's not noticed, but we have the disclaimer inside the notice.
So why is the fence triggering a variance?
No fence in the front yard. It's an open
And-
fence.
And how many linear feet of fence are you proposing in the combined front yards?
Well, it's really the Allen Drive side. It's about 75 feet of fence.
So this is in addition to the ones we've got listed, the fence?
Yes.
And the notice encompasses that.
Well,
Specifically said
It does,
it's
it does not. So the notice doesn't call out this variance. The notice does have just to turn to it, if it's in the packet. It's in the packet, Tim,
Yes, it's on page 22.
on page 22. Okay, I see 17. Okay, here we go. The applicant may also seek other variances and waivers as the need may arise during the course of the hearing on the application. So it's technically referred to as a catch-all provision. And the reason why applicants include catch-all provisions is if they forget or omit a particular request for variance or waiver, which is what's happening here. Typically, it's up to the board to determine whether it is comfortable in proceeding with the additional variance or variances. And usually that turns on the impact of that variance on the project and whether, if you were a member of the public and you saw the notice and you were fine with the proposed deviations, and then you come to find that there's an additional deviation for which variance relief is requested, whether that would trigger your desire to actually show up and object or ask questions, etc. So it's up to the board to make that assessment.
And it may help if I explain the fence before that decision is reached, if that's okay. Because the site is heavily shrubed.
You just point that on your,
Yeah.
where it starts and ends.
I'd like to go to my exhibit and just do it, because I'd like to enter exhibit 1, I guess. It's an A1. right? I'm looking at you, Mr. Simon. I'd say it's A1.
Don't look at me, that's dangerous.
Okay, so my A1,
And what is A1?
A1 is a board that I put together that includes a Google aerial view and a site plan, the same site plan that you just saw where I added in graphically the trees that are around the fence, and I added in a picture of the actual fence. Okay. So
But the fence isn't there.
the fence is not there, no. The fence that we are proposing.
So the fence that you're proposing is like how many feet off the street is it?
But 15 on the property line. 15 feet off the curb, right? Let me show it to you. The fence that we're proposing is coming around like that is the beginning of the front yard. The fence is coming down the property, the sideline, I'll say. Remember, this is Allen going up the street. So coming down the sideline and then going across the front of the property and coming to this point, which is actually the point of the end of the existing building, and then going straight up to hit the corner of the end of the existing building. So that fence is really here, coming across and coming back up on the property.
Can you do me a favor? Can you trace it? Like, you don't have to draw the exhibit, but on the overhead, on the aerial picture, because that's like the facing the property. It's like you're driving down the street to get to the house. Like that's where I parked today. So can you show where the
This-
fence would be in relation
Okay,
to?
like here's Farley
Yeah,
and there's Allen.
yeah,
Up here's the little cul-de-sac at the top.
yeah.
That fence is running behind those trees that were right, kind of heavily shrubed, comes to that point, comes up to that back corner. Comes here and then goes right there. That's where we're trying to create this sort of yard. Right, I came up this sort of sideline, I went across the front of the property line, and then I came up to hit the corner of the existing building.
So the fence is gonna be in front of those trees.
It's behind the trees.
Well,
But
you just
you're
have your
doing it
pen.
front, yeah.
Oh, I drew it in front because it looked to me like the shadow is thrown it. The shadow is thrown this way, so I think the trees are actually, the trees are forward. The trees are in the right of way, the existing trees. The trees are actually indicated on the engineer's drawings. They're actually these trees, which if you actually look kind of closely at the drawing, they're indicated. They're within, the trees are within the right of way. I think the shadow is making it back. I mean,
Is there testimony that from Allen Drive that no one is gonna see the fence?
yes.
Yeah, from.
I didn't finish it yet. Here, when we come up this way, the fence is visible, right? Because we're gonna come up. I'm saying from this long length on Allen Drive. I guess I could put this another way. I could say that the fence is gonna be behind those trees wherever they are. Okay. The concept is the fence is behind those trees. But the trees are within the right of way.
So I see where it's labeled here, arborvitae, the existing trees on this plan, and that's coming around where your wall is, I guess.
It comes, yeah. It comes up. They brought them up right behind, or they brought the wall right behind those trees.
The fence goes beyond that, so are those other trees that you do there, are they new trees?
I added these 10 conifers into this because there's no buffer at this point as they come up. the side. These 10 trees are, I added 10 6-foot emerald green trees. You know, those trees. I added them. These, but otherwise there's no kind of, I'm saying it's so shrubbed you couldn't see the fence. That's what I'm saying.
Can you add a new wall along Allen?
We had a 2-foot high wall. We're trying to kind of level the
Then
property.
you're fencing behind the front of
The
wall.
fence is in front of the wall.
Correct, but, so you, it's like belt and suspenders, you have a wall and a fence.
We have a wall, a 2-foot high wall to level the grade.
Okay.
And then we're putting a fence in just so that the balls don't go into the street.
And then you're gonna put-
Right? That's really the idea.
That
It's
is
just
really
to
the
stop,
idea.
you
My
know,
kids just run into the street, like they play and they go into the
just to
street.
stop, you know. Although the kids probably couldn't run through the shrubbery anyway, to tell you the truth.
Right, so it's the wall, the fence, and then the arborvitae that's existing? Right, and
The arborvitae's that existing, right? You know, I don't know if you saw them. They're about 25 feet high. This is big
Are
stuff.
they considered street trees properly in the right of way, or?
Well, they were not planted by the town. They were planted by the homeowner. They're not street trees, but
Okay, so they're planted without permission. in the right-
they're kind of, all these trees that are in the right of way are kind of planted without permission. Yes. If you notice, everybody, there's a lot of planting in the right of way, actually, like everywhere. Although I wouldn't say I've done it. But no, but there's a lot of planting in the right of way. So all I did is I came up and I don't know if planting in the right of way is actually discouraged even by the forester. to tell you the truth. They've never brought it up to me as an issue. But it's not a numbered tree, you know, the town has numbered every tree that's their tree. They have a barcode for every tree. So anyway, that's the fence that's wrapping around and coming up. And the fence is an open, 4-foot-high metal fence, sort of a. This fence is designed to
The
let.
picture that you had in the middle of what the fence is gonna look like, that looks like it's in front of the front door, like, right?
Well, it's just a picture I had, but
Oh,
it's
it is.
not.
So this fence will not be in front of the front door?
It's
No,
just a
no,
fence.
no,
This is
no.
just a,
Okay, but
a
back to
picture
the
of the-
original issue of the fence not being noticed.
Yeah.
What are everyone's thoughts about, not specifically noticing a front yard fence?
I have a different related question.
Yeah.
For you. Well, for both, so Allen Road is a short cul-de-sac.
yes.
I just can't, how many cars drive on Allen Road?
3. I mean,
So
the
balls
3,
rolling into the street where no one goes.
but it's dangerous because it's uphill, right? So when the cars come in or any Uber drivers come in who don't have kids on the street, they turn around and come down. And so generally what happens is because the trees are there and the shrubbery is there, Mia just runs and then she gets them by surprise. So I just don't want that to occur. It's not for any aesthetics. It is truly for the safety of my kids. Like I just don't want her to run across the trees and the Uber guy sees, the Amazon dispatch sees it. And they don't notice the kids running off. And it all happens in a split second. And every time it just gives me a heart attack. So that's why I want the fence. There is no other way for us to live in that house with 8-year-old running in that side yard without that.
So I get, the wanting a fence. My only concern is that I feel like, and this, in front of the, this board, front yard fences are definitely like, they're not kind of like always a cut and dry
Right.
application. And I feel like this fence is a large part of your application, like you have all of these exhibits, so the fact that it wasn't noticed, I just don't know how comfortable I am proceeding with it without it, being noticed when it is something that, it is normally, like a bigger deal in the community, to have a fence in the, in the front yard. So, I mean, Mr. Zalman, what
Yeah, I
what
mean,
would you say about
this,
this, just based on our history?
no, I mean, I think all those concerns are totally valid. I concur in terms of the way this board has considered very carefully variance applications for fencing in a front yard. We talk about how many linear feet, whether that can be reduced, the type of fencing, et cetera. And sometimes we get neighboring property owners who do come out and ask some questions and express concerns. And here, it's not like you're in the middle of a long strip of a very busy road where every other property on the left and right have fences and just sort of continuing the fence, or even in some cases tying in to a neighbor's fence, right? This is a brand new fence, and there are properties, certainly along Allen Drive on both sides of the cul-de-sac that may be impacted.
And that was my question too, in terms of other properties on the street which have a fence around the area. So that would be a useful stat to have.
I agree with all of that.
To say I didn't even take notice
can
of
plant the
fences in the other yards because I wasn't looking for a
We
fence
may be
application.
okay. We may be okay just to plant these additional trees that I put in today. And that may be enough buffer to make this thing work.
The same size trees so that they don't run.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but
so
the
you
trees
wouldn't
are-
put in a fence?
And then
is
we
what you're saying?
ignore the fence, just use the trees.
So take the fence completely off?
But
Right.
I could put the trees, right?
You can put the
you
trees
put
in,
trees,
so, and
yeah.
maybe we could
But I mean,
create this
you would have
enclosure
to,
that
if
way.
you're,
The kids aren't gonna run through the trees.
if you're desiring,
tough
right,
kids.
to achieve some enclosure for your children, you don't have any trees currently, or it doesn't appear to have.
We do have trees on
To
this
the,
side,
to the east.
Yeah.
That's right.
yes, but there is a fence right behind us, our neighbor's fence, so it's not like the neighboring properties are not fenced, they're all fenced.
Yeah, but that's in a backyard.
Yeah,
That's
it's
like
in
a
the
different
backyard.
thing. But why don't we can create this with the landscaping. We
Yeah.
can,
I mean, it's up to you. I mean, we're not saying no. We're just saying that we have concerns about
right.
proceeding with, the fence part of the application or, and then the application as a whole without it being, properly
Give you a fence and
noticed.
I could put a gate into the
Yeah,
fence,
that's
or
it.
like a tree
Be-
fence.
between the
Lots of
trees,
and I
right?
could put a gate. I can clean this up for you.
Okay.
Like, I think I can make this look. I
It's
could
not-
do this
it's
with
not a question of
landscaping and
what-
make it
how
look
you
good.
can Make it look, it's a question of what the
Right.
applicant wants.
Yeah.
And whether the applicant is comfortable proceeding without the fence, even though it's contained within your application materials and plans.
There are other things that are really important on this. I don't know how we all stumbled on just the fence part of it. So let's talk about the other things as well, and let's just let it go.
Okay, yeah, we let the fence go. Delete the fence.
But I
from the
can
application.
plant the trees.
Yes, yes. The town loves trees in general. You can plant a tree anywhere
No,
you
because
want.
somebody said that was not a town planted tree. So
No,
I didn't
no,
want
they
to
don't
get
mean
into
it that
another
way. They
problem
just-
by planting trees.
It's just a little joke that everybody's kind of planting trees on the town's property, that's all. So we'd like to remove the fence from the application. That's what we'd like to do.
So these materials, are they okay the way they are, or we just put in the notes that?
Well, I think, let's say that we have variances for setback that I haven't even spoken about. So I would just say that in the memorialization, you could delete the fence, if that's reasonable.
I mean, it's up to you.
That's
And-
okay
and-
with
and
us.
your applicant,
Yeah.
if you
Yeah,
want to.
that's okay with us,
Proceed without the fence, or if you'd rather renotice and then come back to us,
No.
to,
No, she doesn't.
no, okay,
Okay?
okay. So then we're gonna proceed with everything else that has been noticed, and not the fence.
Okay.
But that's okay.
Yeah, and it is, it's fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fine.
So then I'm sorry, just to close the loop on this. So on the plan, you also have variance relief regarding the proposed front fence height. And that's also being removed, obviously.
Yes. What
Yes.
plan do you see that on?
I see under BOA 1, it says number 4, fences and walls. Maximum fence height in the front yard 18 inches, proposed fence height 48 inches.
Yes,
Except you're
we're
keeping the wall
deleting.
though.
We're leaving the wall, which conforms. It's not a variance issue. But we're deleting the fence in its entirety.
Okay.
That's true, right?
Yes.
I want to make sure I get this right.
Yes, that's true.
So addition to this, what we're proposing to do on this site is to add a 2-story addition in the rear back here and add a 1-story addition on the side going up the Allen Drive side. So those 2 darkened in buildings are our 2 additions. I'm going to take you to my plans now. Oh, and we're also, just so everybody knows, we're building these retaining walls on the property, but they all conform to the ordinance. So now I'm on my BOA 2 sheet, which is the first floor plan. Exactly the same as your first floor. There's an existing sort of side yard, remember it's a corner lot, Farley and Allen. Existing side yard is 17.9. We are proposing our 1-story building, this one, at 13.8. However, we have this grill area that we extended off of this covered porch that we created, and the grill area is at 10.5. So that's where the first floor at 10.5 comes from. It comes from this grill wall that's really only about 1.5 feet high out of grade because of how high the grade is on this back corner. I'll show it to you in elevation. But that's triggering it. Since the grill wall is attached to the building, it was considered part of the setback, even though it doesn't have a roof. Okay? But the structure with a roof is actually at 13.8, and it's really by ordinance required to be 15. Okay?
So Tim, where that grill is, there's like a little patio and then a wall, is that what you're saying? The edge of the wall is 10.5.
Yeah, what I'm saying, I'm gonna draw on this and call it my A2. But
Okay, so A2 is.
it's the first floor
BLA
plan.
2.
Yeah, BLA2. You can see really the property line right here coming through. And this is the 15-foot setback line coming through. That's required for that, because it's actually a side yard, it's really a corner lot. And really the portion of the building, right, this column is the roof of the building. So the actual portion of the building that isn't conforming is actually that little triangle right there. That's what it is. We also have noticed for this section of the grill, right, this wall around the grill is sort of a 3'6" high wall that the grill is pushed up into. And this area at the worst condition is the 13.5. Right? And that is, or no, 10.5 it is, right? And that is the variance that we're seeking for
I
that.
was just trying to confirm that that little, so if you look at the part that's not covered on the porch,
Yes,
so you're saying there's a little patio area
this,
where you're putting a
yeah,
grill.
it's like a little
And
patio.
there's a
kind of.
wall around that.
Yes.
And that, when you measure from the corner of that wall to the, in terms of, for setback purposes, you have 10.5 feet.
That's right. That is the 10.5 from the property line to this corner of that low
Yeah.
wall. It's similar to this condition where the front wall is a little higher than the work surface that you guys are seeing. So that is really the variance for the first floor.
What is
Otherwise-
existing right now, but if the 10.5 is proposed, what is existing in this? That
Existing,
little spot? Because actually the existing
well,
is
there's no
not built in on
building
this
here.
chart.
The existing is this corner way in here, which is at, whatever that says. I
Is
just
it
can't read.
17.9?
7,
It's missing from our little chart.
23.3.
25.8 or something. My dimension may be a little, are you looking at the engineer's drawing or mine? His dimensions are a little different than mine. He's probably more accurate.
That's where I'm looking. I'm looking at the engineers.
Yeah. What do you call it, 23?
I believe if you look, it's tough to see, it's the grade.
Yeah.
23.3 is the setback for that.
It looks like 20, I'd say. Yeah. Maybe it's 21.3, maybe it is 23. 20, no, you're right,
No,
23.3.
It looks like it's 23.3 to that corner, but the
Hey.
17.9 I'm referencing is that the existing side yard condition that's closest to the adjacent property is at 17.9.
That is this point
Right,
at the family room,
right.
right, way up, closer to Farley, I'm gonna say. That's the condition that's cited for the setbacks, because that's actually the worst condition.
Right.
But I thought you were asking me.
No,
here.
so we're fine now. So
Yeah.
we're going from 20, in that corner, that northeast corner, you're going from 23.3 feet to 10.5 feet.
That's true, yes. And then that handled the first floor, right? I think. I'm gonna say yes, that handled the first floor. The second floor is required to be at 22. Right, this is in R4, so it goes 15, 22. There's no angle, it's a straight shot. So we are building a building right here. The prayer room is literally behind the existing library. That space that we're building directly behind it is the prayer room. That is at about 15.5.
I'd say 15.3.
15.3, they say. That corner right there is actually at 15.3. And that's a second floor, that's a two-story building, so that's a second floor variance. So the variance is to add, I forget if it was a closet or an office above the prayer room. I forget which one.
It's a closet.
Closet? It's a closet. It's a, oh no, it's an office. We have it now as an office. We flipped it back and forth. I couldn't remember which one. And you can see if I go to my BOA 3 sheet, this line, the heavy line that's coming through, is the 22-foot line. Right, that's required for the second floor. So I gotta call this, I guess, A3 now. It's my second floor plan. And this is really the variance request there. And it's also true that this is a variance, even though it's not cited because the worst condition is cited, right? The 15.3, we thought it was 15.5, but the 15.3 there is cited, not the 17.94, right? Because this is the worst condition. That triangle and then this triangle is also a variance request. Does that make sense? Pardon?
The bedroom that you just referred to.
It's a new bedroom over the existing family room, but it's,
Is that noted, is that shown on here?
yeah, it's this, I don't know if you can, it's on,
You showed the two-story.
it's on top of this, so 17. It's at this like 17.94, but the variance occurs really at the 15 point then, yeah.
Can you just clarify what's changing from existing to the new?
Thank you.
We're adding, I'll do it on the second floor for now. We're adding over the family room, which is presently a one-story building. And that really triggers a variance for that triangle, right? Everything's a little confusing because this,
But it's
The lot
so
is
that's the whole master plus the bath and closet, I guess.
I didn't do that. I'm in bedroom 5. I'm in this little bedroom 5
Yeah.
over the family room. Then we're adding an office over the new prayer room. So this is a 2-story addition that we're adding there. And that's triggering a second floor variance for really that triangle that I just shaded in. That area, because it's required to be 22. Then if I go down,
Before you leave,
yeah,
on BOA 3,
yeah,
so I know the orientation, I think is off. So if I'm looking at the engineer's plan, BOA 1, I'm looking at these additions, right? Where are these shaded additions?
he's got it perfectly. Their orientation same as ours. The first floor addition is this building. The big shaded in area.
That's the colored.
It's the covered porch. Okay.
Okay,
The second shaded in area is this building.
right,
This is Allen Drive,
right.
and this is Farley.
And what what you're pointing to though
Bedroom
isn't.
five.
Yeah,
Where's that?
It's
that's not shaded
over,
in on this plan.
it's not, because he's giving you a site plan. He's not indicating the area above. He didn't give you, he's not showing the 2 floors. He doesn't indicate that there is work going on above the existing family room.
So does the work above the family room, is that triggering any variance relief?
I would say
Well, the portion on the second floor.
it triggers variance, but the variance relief is worse because it's already, if, let's say the variance was granted, it's granted here for the 15.3, and this is actually 17.94.
It's both.
But we wouldn't normally cite 2 variances like that way.
The worst case scenario.
You'd cite the worst case. So in the worst case is the 15.3.
So, so there's, but the point being is that there's 3 areas of the house where work is being proposed that is triggering variance.
Yes.
What would help
yes.
me, I keep pointing this, what is the existing usage? Usually this chart is filled out so we can get a grip,
I can kind of give
a
that to you.
grasp on how much.
I'm gonna just,
percentage
I'm not gonna
is
do the front yard setback part yet,
Okay,
okay?
so that's this, so we're gonna focus on side yard setback.
The side yard setback, the second one, we're on attachment E.
Mhm.
The second one, the existing is 17.9,
Okay. For the
which is
first floor?
really, yes, which is really the family room,
Mhm.
okay? And the worst condition second floor existing is that 23 point,
That's existing?
23.3 is the worst condition on the second floor. It actually conforms, right? Because 22 conforms. Does that make sense?
So you're, on the first floor, you're going from 17.9 to 10.5.
10.5 for that grill. It's a little bit misleading, I think. It's really, the first floor is really small. The first floor is
So it's
really,
7.4.
is really that little triangle there. It's
The
crazy
extent
how
of
little it
variance.
is.
The
Or
extent
you
of
could
variance
say
is
if you
minimal.
included the grill, it's all.
And
The
it's-
variance is, even with the grill, it's 12 feet long and the mean is about 2 feet wide, that's a little triangle.
So 7.4 feet, we don't know the extent of the variance. but- Okay. And then on the second floor, the existing usage is 23.3.
The existing usage, the second floor conforms at 23.3, the closest to the property line.
Well, no, you're proposing 15.3.
No, existing, you're asking me, right?
Existing is 23.3 and you're
Yes.
proposing 15.3. So
15.3 is the
proposal.
the proposal. And it's actually occurring. It's occurring, right at that corner. It's actually this triangle of
And the
space.
extent of the variance for that.
You want me to give it to you in square footage? Would that
It's
help?
just like usually a percentage, but whatever.
It's like,
6 feet 9.
yeah, it's probably about 7 feet taper into nothing in a span of 14 feet. It's a triangle.
Thank you.
And then this one is probably 5 to 0 and 11 feet, I'm gonna say. It's a little,
That's the office and what's that?
this is a new bedroom. It's a bedroom that we added over the existing family room.
And there are windows presumably on the back of that.
Yeah, like we have 2 windows. There's an existing fireplace in the family room that we brought up, and then we have a window on either side.
And that's a chimney in the middle?
That's yes.
So Tim, where is 104 Farley?
Is that the house immediately to the left?
The one behind, I think behind your house.
Yeah,
Oh, is
that's
that
Eric's house.
Farley or is that?
That's Farley, that's Eric's house.
Oh,
Where is it?
I thought that
How far
was.
away is it?
Eric is my neighbor.
How far away is it?
I had a tax map. Well, I kind of put in the house, well, you know, it may be on this one.
Hey, Tim, why don't we mark as A3, your BOA 3 as marked up, okay?
I did,
That's A3?
yes.
And Eric is well aware of all of this, just so you know.
I'm sorry.
Wanna-
No, Eric, we have shown this to Eric, like Eric is aware of the construction.
When you,
Like your variance notice them there too.
You're talking about this house?
I was talking about the Farley house, yes, this one. Oh, yeah.
She's
I don't know what.
This is Farley.
Yeah, this is Farley.
Right.
He's our neighbor. He's our only neighbor really, because the others are like really
His,
far.
his address is 104 Farley.
He's
Think so,
104
yeah,
Farley.
yeah. Whatever the next house to us on Farley.
Yep, you're correct, 104. That is the house, 104 Farley.
How far away is it?
I think from this corner to that house, it's about 65 feet. Okay, it's pretty good, I'd say. And you can see how it's kind of tilted in a little bit, right? Because everything is tilted. The house that's accessible off of Old Short Hills Road is sitting here. There's another house. You can see it on the, if you go to, well, you can see the lot on 16 on the little, tax
That's
map.
farther away.
Yeah, that's.
It's very
that's
far,
across.
Now, do you want me to do the front yard setback to even make it more confusing, or should I stay on this a little bit? I guess I'm trying to say about this is that they're very small triangles, and they're pretty far from the adjacent house. And this site is extremely well screened and also has a big change in contours. And they have showed it to the neighbor, and the neighbor is in agreement with the building. Okay,
I don't know if, well, he didn't see all these sort of exhibits and stuff,
Yeah.
but he's aware of it.
well, I just prepared this exhibit today.
How far is the home on Allen Drive from? It's not visible here.
The next house?
That's pretty far.
That
It's
is
pretty far because there's actually this other lot that, if you look on the tax map on your page 16, there's another lot that's actually come through. That it's almost in, it took me a while to figure out where the house was until I actually looked at the tax map. But it's a,
Talking about the through lot with the little
yeah.
narrow.
I don't know why, but for some reason they access this site off of Old Short Hills Road. Where today we'd want to access off of Allen Drive, not a busy road. But the house, you see where it says like 1.0 acres plus or minus on that through lot?
Yeah.
Right on that acreage sign is about where this house is. It's a contemporary back there.
So in that, their address is Short Hills Road because of that strip that goes.
They wanted, when that lot was, maybe this house was put in before Allen Drive was in, or I don't know why, but like it came off of that bigger lot 11, that's right to the left of it, the lot to the left of it is, 2.68 acres. That's a huge lot. So somebody cut a right of way through and they built a contemporary.
That's crazy.
Wow.
What is it?
The address is actually 236 and a half.
Wow.
I actually think, now that you say that, I think I've seen that sign driving up Old Short Hills Road. And I wonder what the heck that is.
Does the house face Allen or does it face Short Hills?
I think
Or Farley?
it probably faces more towards Short Hills Road, Old Short Hills Road. But it's really hard to see it. It's almost like I want to say the house is round, but I don't think it is. It is really a contemporary back there.
So Tim, your first floor elevations are at around 109 feet, right? For the 1 story and the 2 story, correct?
The finished floor?
Yeah.
The first floor?
Yeah, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's the elevation on that third area where that is not shown as to be improved on the engineering plan, but it's to be improved?
The second floor
Finished,
elevation.
well, the finished floor, I just wanna know.
The finished floor is about
About the same?
120, right? It's the second floor. It's up about 11 feet above, 10 feet. It's 10 feet higher than the first floor,
And what's the elevation of that?
119.
Do you know what the elevation is of that, what I'll call the narrow property to the northeast?
Well, I can see the contours coming through. See 108, 107, 109, 110, it's going up. As I walk towards the back corner, when I get back to, about this area, it's at about 115, and in the back corner here, it's almost at 120. Right?
So
It's a pretty good pitch
Right,
to
so
this
so
site.
the point being is that the, cut Chase a little bit, that the proposed additions here, at least from that property, are gonna appear lower.
Much lower, yes.
But from Allen Drive, they're gonna appear taller, because there's a difference in grade or elevation between
Yeah,
103 and like 109, 110.
yeah, but difficult to see because the building is twisted a little bit. Allen Drive's not perpendicular to Farley, right? So the building conceals itself a little. I gotta just, for now, skip to the front yard, give it a break, okay? The existing front yard setback is at 40.7. The proposed for us is at 40.9. We're actually a little behind the existing. However, the average is a little bit similar to the last case, where in this case, the average is at 44.5. We can't just be behind our building. So the request that we're asking for is for a 3.6 foot variance for front yard setback along Allen for the one-story building, with our existing two-story building being at 40.7. So we're actually a little further back, but just because of the way that the setback is calculated now, we actually need to request relief for that. And it's really a one-story structure that I've been trying really hard to make a case in isn't visible from the street. So I'm not going to badger it any longer. Okay. Should I go back to my side yards, or have I done enough? Huh?
Yeah, do you ever give any consideration to just putting the first floor addition in within the setback, 15 foot?
We just couldn't fit everything. And it's really just because of the shape of this is a corner lot, it's also on an angle. And there is a couple of other things I gotta tell you, since we're on that subject, I guess. Just so everybody gets this, the allowable building coverage for this site is 14%. This project done is only at 11.5. Right? This is just a long, skinny lot, and it's kind of torqued on an angle. It's kind of a classic sort of C2 request here. And the lot coverage is allowable to be at 35%, and completed, this is only at 23.5. I'm just saying this is way under. And the FAR allowable on this site is 26%. And done, this is only at 15.3%. The building height, allowable is 32%. This building's only at 25.6 feet. When I say 32%, 32 feet, right? The building's only at 25.6 feet. So I'm just saying that this is a pretty good build on this site. If this was a tear down, I guess somebody would look at this site and design an extremely long and skinny house and get it to conform. So they wouldn't have to be here, and the house would probably in its length appear to be almost 2 houses long related to the houses in the neighborhood. So I think that this is a smarter solution for this site. Right? And of course, it would be bigger, right, taller, a new build than this building. So we've been able to put these, let's say, minor additions into the rear, angled in such a manner that they're not even visible from the street, and the kind of angle of that sort of side property line, which is kind of like our rear property line, helps us to really make these additions not be visible at all, really, from the road. So I think this is a good application that way.
Tim, this is the R4 zone, right?
Yes,
So it's 25,000 square foot lot size, right?
yes,
And you have 21,628.
yes, we're actually over. This is a nice lot, you know, in terms of a lot, but it's a, I hate to say it to you, but it's a terribly configured lot. It's, you know, I hate to say it because, you know, the houses are not inexpensive here, but it's, you know, it'd be nicer if the lot had a little more width to it. Right?
So
And then that width is getting worse because of the angle.
I just I completely appreciate what you're saying about the size of the lot, we can contain more as we
Yeah.
are, right? This prayer room, the way it's built, just on the first floor.
Yes.
And then this covered porch, a small piece that doesn't have a cover, this covered porch is, I'm just curious what other considerations. So the covered porch is 21 by 24.3, right? It's a 500 square
It's
foot
big.
covered porch.
You're right.
Very big covered porch. So I'm curious, what considerations did you do to see if this could?
Well, I knew I could make the covered porch smaller.
Yeah.
Right? And I was gonna make it smaller to get rid of that little triangle until the engineer actually came back to me and said that he wanted to include the grill into the setback since it was part of the building, right? Because I kind of considered the grill to be like a stoop, and I thought it wasn't to be included. But anyway, he wanted to include it, and I wanted that porch to be the size it is because it actually fits perfectly on the edge, on the end of the building. Like I centered it. There's some things about this house that was done, I don't know, 15 years ago or 20 years ago. I think Diana Hoffman did it. And some things that were done on it were done really pretty well. And I could see how she kind of tried to align things and make things work. And I decided to keep the width of the porch and make it smaller because it made that elevation that she had tried so hard to create on the side, and it was able to retain it. And it's probably also true that nobody will ever look at that yard. Like if the kids are playing in the yard, they're not going to look back and become architects because they found the perfect elevation. But I just thought that I knew we were going to have to be here anyway, and I left it because I thought it made sense, and I didn't think it made a difference actually to the streetscape.
Tim, how much does this, the covered porch, which is a substantial porch, contribute to the side yard setback? For 7.4 feet, you're asking for a 7.4 foot variance, pretty much top and bottom.
The
Is
covered
that, does it contribute or is it on the other side? The side yard
It's really the other stuff. I'm gonna just to make this simple, say the covered porch doesn't really, unless if you said that
That's my question.
it's the grill in that
All right.
little
Okay,
corner.
so it doesn't contribute substantially to the side yard.
The grill, well,
Well, no, it's
the,
13.7, isn't it?
it's 13.7.
Right.
It's the grill. From the grill to the property line is 13.7.
No, that's wrong. The grill
Oh.
to the property line is 10.5.
Oh, I'm sorry, yeah. It's 13.7
Right.
to there, right? He gave me to the overhang. It's 13.7. That distance right there is What would it be, 1.3 or 2.3? 1.3.
1.3, so could you?
That's the
shave-
1.3 feet. It's almost,
Right, so could you shave the 1.3 feet,
yes.
right?
But then I'd want to shave it on the front too. And then it didn't look good to me on the edge. I'm just saying.
For
that-
1.3 feet in the front, it's gonna make a difference?
Well, you don't have to go this way with this, but I'm just saying that I think it's worth it to grant the deviation for this 1.3 for really this small triangular corner that is about 3 feet long, right? Because I think that it makes the building work much better, looking at the building from the lawn this way coming back. That's all I'm saying. I mean, if the board disagrees, I'm fine, I guess. But I think if I was to pull it in 1.3 on this side, I'd like to pull it in 1.3 in the front.
So if you pulled it in 1.3 in the front, and I'm just talking about variance.
No, yeah, I understand where you're
If you're
going.
pulling it in 1.3 in the front, what does that do to your 40.9?
It would lower it. It would lower the request at 3.6 to 2.3. Then, we have a average front yard setback required of 44.5. And if I pulled them both in, it
Understand
would lower.
something, just, if you pulled it in the front, if you're gonna shave off 1.3 feet in the back, and you wanna do the same thing for the front, what is your proposed front yard setback?
It would be 42 point, yeah.
Right. And the requirement is 44,
But
44.5?
But before we go too far, let's just remember that the existing is 40.9.
40.7.
Or the existing is 40.7, it's actually greater than the request for this one-story porch. And the existing is actually a two-story building that even has some architectural projections on it that are actually even a little closer. So I understand how it works as a math problem, but
Okay.
the building is actually a pretty good building.
You've definitely presented your proofs as to justifying why you want to seek the variance.
Yes. No, it's not like defense.
Tim, just to
Defense, I think I can handle.
Just to
Yes.
clarify, speaking with that first floor addition we're talking about, you're doing a nice job steering it to the small triangle, but we're really looking at a 1050 proposed setback you're looking at, right? Rear yard, not 13.
Yes. It's 10.5 to the grill.
10.5. The grill is part of this application, right?
Yes.
Triangular.
It's this little triangle. But but before we get too carried away with all
Running
this,
into that 13.8, but that's not really.
it's not really a number
academic, really, right?
because the decision's been to set back to the grill. Even though, I don't know, I would think you would set back to a building with a roof. Not to, but anyway, I just agreed to do it. Right, that's how the engineer wanted to do it, and I agreed to do it because I was sick of waiting for this engineer to finish, which I think somebody else remembers well, too, and I'm just happy to get a document. But the request is really this triangle. I mean, I'm just saying it's not, I don't think it's a big request. It's very low into the ground because the grade is actually high. Like I'm saying that grill wall in terms of out of grade is, I don't know, 2 feet out of grade or something. But I'm still setting to it.
He called it an uncovered porch.
He called it, yeah.
And so the reality is, it's still part of your porch.
Yeah.
So it's.
I could take a stoop on the side door and the stoop doesn't count into my setback. Right.
That might be a good way to redesign, to avoid this now.
Well, it would be a good way to maybe seek variance relief. Is that what you meant? Thank you then. But I'm honestly saying that it's back in the back corner there. It's not really at all visible from the street. You know. I think it's the right place to put the grill because I didn't want to put the grill in the front of the house. I couldn't put it into the side because the grade is almost too high.
Talk about the lot size a little bit. How does this lot size compare to other lot sizes?
This lot is big. Well,
Is it
it's an
oversized?
R4 zone, 20,000 square feet required. This is 21,600, and that's part of the reasons why this would probably be a nice lot for a builder, because it's nice and big, and they like the bigger it gets, the better for them. But it's actually kind of smaller than the lots that are in the neighborhood if I look at the tax map.
But is it actually smaller? I mean,
Well-
by numbers?
Well, I mean, it's close. It's probably the same as 104 Farley and 110 Farley. 116 Farley is bigger. You know, this is these are, you know, sort of estate-size houses. These are kind of big houses.
Do you know how this lot compares to typical in R4?
Well, the R4 required is 20,000, and this is 21,600. It's a little,
So it's oversized.
it's oversized.
Is there a lot depth requirement?
Well, it's a corner, so
But
it
no.
goes away kind of.
There's no lot width, there's no lot depth.
But you can see how it's kind of, I'm looking at page 16, the tax map, because here it's kind of compatible. It shows more on Farley and shows less at the top on Allen. It's only 50 feet wide at the top side,
50 and 132.
but 132, whereas the one next to it is 100 and 100. Yeah. The 100 and 100 would be, you know, a better lot, a little easier to work with. And that's what I'm saying, that this house is kind of faced to Allen, so it's actually a little cocked on the site because of that.
The only thing not conforming currently is the front setback.
The front setback is non-conforming, yeah. I guess,
I know, but it's
because
existing
40-foot minimum doesn't
40.7.
hold anymore. This house was built probably under the 40-foot,
So
it was 40 at the time, but 40 is kind of
Not being used anymore.
we're not using it, so.
What is the longest?
No.
So far might be the concern.
But this was built probably under the 40-foot setback requirement.
Was there any thought given to do any of the construction over the raised slate terrace? Where you have a little bit more space and
Well, it's not adjacent to the yard. It's not where we're trying to get. You know, it's like, a corner lot is a problem kind of, because you really want to have your active space of your house opening up to the rear yard, and it's a little difficult. This gives us an active space to the yard. I mean, the cost to kind of work this yard to get it to be usable is not cheap either, right? It's, so I don't think and actually the bulk would look worse if we went that way. It would look worse from Farley. This bulk is actually not even, really not even visible. Okay. And it gives us the connection to the outside that we're trying to get to, really.
Tim, can I direct you to your EOA 5?
Yeah.
The top portion of that shows.
Yes.
Could you just point to where the existing family room roof is?
Yeah, that is the existing family room.
And would it be the dashed line would be the present roof?
This is the existing roof right there that we've pulled. And then, if you imagine, all we really did, we took that roof and pushed it up. We added a floor into that.
Then to the left of that is the other proposed addition.
This area is actually the two-story building. The prayer room on the first floor and the office on the second floor. This area is the grill area that we're talking about. See, we dropped the grade that way. Before, we had the grade running straight and dropping. We probably updated the grade, my guys did, to what the engineer finally gave us. And that's why we're saying that this wasn't showing a wall, but now it shows wall more. But that is actually the grill area.
And then also you're putting a new roof, you're raising the roof on this, right?
In this area?
No, on the whole house.
No, we haven't touched the roof. We left everything.
That's
All we did, yeah, that's all existing. All we did is this is our new two-story building. I hipped everything in to match the existing.
It's me, sorry.
Oh. But this is the existing roof. We're raising the chimney, right? Because, we're going up. The chimney's probably stopping about midway through the second story windows. My guys over drilling. We're going up with the new chimney. And this is that one-story building. So we still have grade coming this way. So that's why we have that little swale that we kind of redirect the water that's coming down the property. This is actually that shot from the end in my right side elevation where this window is up in the master. And then that's our new building underneath it. That's that building where I was fooling around back and forth to try to align things that I was talking about before. And then this is that actual two-story structure. Right there is the projection of the grill area beyond the roof structure. And I think that the engineer was measuring to the edge of the overhang for me, not to the edge of the building in this case. But we would normally measure to where the foundation wall abuts the ground. But he's, I think, added in the overhang. That's how he gets these little different numbers.
In this drawing rendering, can you tell me where the side yard setback is problematic? Can you see it on?
This area
Okay,
on the second floor,
okay,
I'm going to say I'm just guessing, but I'm going to say it's about 0. And on this side, it's about 7.
yes.
Right, it's a triangle. And then the same thing is probably, I think if I remember this, it started about here, about a third of the way across here, and it goes to about 5, from 0 to 5. It's a triangle
Yeah.
of this and this, deepest on the sort of sides closer to me, because that's the way the property line's getting cut.
Can you tell me of the hardships on the property?
Well, it's a corner lot, and then it's worse because it's got this angled back lot line. Right? So when they built this house, they made a decision that they wanted it to face Allen. So that gave them this kind of bad lot line in the back. They would have maybe been better off to go parallel to the rear lot line and cock the house on Allen, but it's a little nicer in general if the house faces straight to the street. And that's what really created this problem. And I'd say we
So,
have controlled it because
so
it's not
even though
really
we have a
visible.
unique situation here where we have an oversized lot, and you said that you're way under in terms of building coverage, lot coverage, FAR, and height. You have, and the reason why I asked earlier about the lot width, lot depth, is that you have a dimension on this corner lot that is about half in terms of, I'll call, depth from Allen Drive compared to the shape of the other lots along Farley, correct? In terms of that, because of that angle you're referring to, you're a little choked in that corner,
Yeah,
right?
uh-huh.
Right, and in terms of, if you were gonna argue for a C2, the benefits, outweighing the detriments, you're saying that you would arguably have greater benefit by having these slight deviations per the triangles you referenced versus making those setbacks conforming, but bringing the additions closer to Farley Road.
Yes. Yes.
A couple of questions. So this new roof that is being added on the two additions, that's still lower than the existing roof, is that
Yes.
correct?
When I said that 25.6 is actually up here.
That's there, okay.
Yeah, the building's low, because this is that age when the buildings were lower. You know, it's got 8-foot ceilings, you know. Somebody would want 10-foot now.
Sure. And the side of the house, this side, the top portion of this, how far is it away? I think you probably mentioned 65 feet. Is that how far neighboring home is from this addition?
Yes, I think from this building, I think this is closer. It was this point, 65 feet, this way. It's pretty far, I'd say.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Did I confuse it? I'm sorry if I confused everybody.
Let the record reflect that we don't have any members in the audience unless there's someone
Yeah.
beyond the
Hiding under.
No.
thing that I can't see. Okay, so I am going to close the public portion and ask board members, what say you?
I think this is a bit of a tough one. Look, I mean, I do appreciate, Tim, that this is an odd lot shape and size. I mean, it's a large lot, but it does have this sort of, the tapering really limits kind of what you could do, and the placement of the house is somewhat awkward, it seems. So, and I do think the lot size can probably support the additions. I think it's fortunate that the other lot is, the next door neighbor is 65 feet away, because one of the things that is concerning me is you're just kind of bunching a lot in the back, which is really close to the property line. And I know this neighbor has said they don't object, well, they're not here, but they don't object, but, conceivably someone else in the future might not like things as close as they might ultimately be. But I think it's probably far enough away that it isn't a significant issue. So I'm interested to hear what my colleagues say. I think I could probably be supportive of it, given the things we've talked about. But I'm interested to hear what my colleagues say.
I can go. I concur with what Gary's comments were here. I think this is a little odd shaped, although it is large. But given that the numbers are way below on the FAR, the lot size, even the height of the additions is lower than the existing ceiling. Plus, it's farther away on the side where the additions are made to the most adjacent neighbor. I think this lot can take on more, and there is element of hardship, although it's a very large lot. I could be supportive as well on the same lines.
I'll go next. Thank you for all of this. I would have loved to have these numbers flowed on. It really does help me to see how much you're going over, but I think you've done a okay job of filling everything in the meantime. The only thing that stands out to me is the covered porch that's really large, but I can see visually it's a pretty challenging lot because it's a corner lot, it's a triangular lot. And as two other colleagues have already said, you're pretty far away from the closest neighbor. Your neighbor was actually out yesterday when I was driving by, and I was like, they're
Yeah.
watching.
Yeah, he
Um,
did tell me.
What's that?
He did mention.
Mentioned somebody slowed down and like.
Yeah,
looked
yeah.
and
So
looked
then
at
I
the
called the
stories.
nanny, but I think it's
That's
was
I was like, yeah.
somebody was ahead of me.
suspicious. That's okay. Anyway, I would be supportive of this application because I think the property can support it because of the size, and the hardship convinces me that this is a good solution, a reasonable solution.
I'll take the other side. I'm not supportive of this application. There's a number of incursions into the rear setback. If it was one, that would be maybe something that I could get beyond, but there's three.
You're talking about the side, the side setback.
The side setback. There are a number of feet, and it's extensive. Also, when you turn to look at your sheet BA05, that's pretty substantial, what you're adding to the back of that house, especially for the second floor. With the chimneys raising up and everything else, so do I think it could be reworked? That's not up to me to say, but the way it's presented here, I'm not in favor of that.
I'm not sure how I feel. I think it's a tough one, or Gary's at the beginning. I did walk around your house. Sorry, I rang the bell 3 times.
Oh, no, there was nobody, and I apologize. I wasn't at home and I didn't hear the bell ring, and
No,
so,
they were there, but they didn't answer, so.
no, I wasn't
Anyway,
there.
it's very close to the neighboring house, and that's the part that troubles me. It's how, when you walk around the back, it's very close without these additions there already. And
When you say the neighboring house, you're saying
to the fence line, to the neighboring property, I should say.
on Farley?
Whatever this is here, in the rear of the house, there's a fence. It's, I guess it's, if that's corresponds to that, then yes, that's what I mean. There's a, there's a slope up and there's a fence, and I guess house is the wrong word, it's neighboring property. There's not a lot of, it feels very tight back there already. And I could get behind this, but I do wonder if there's another solution. That's where I'm sort of stuck.
I'll say that this is an oversized lot, but we're not talking about overdevelopment here. We're not, talking about any coverage issues. We're not talking about FAR. I don't think that that's what we're, what the applicant is doing here. What we do have, I think, is really a clear hardship with the shape of this lot and where the existing house is. So, I think doing these additions, again, we're not getting into any type of coverage or, FAR issues here. We're getting into this setbacks, but we're also, it's not the entire spaces that are in the setbacks. They're, relatively small portions, like triangles, within, not the whole shaded area that's totally in the setback. And I think that for those reasons, I could be persuaded to support this application. I mean, I think with where this house is and how crammed it is into the backyard, and it's not a backyard, into the front yards because it's a corner lot. I think that that's a hardship. And I'm happy to see that the applicant isn't overbuilding here. So that's where
I'm gonna add, I'm happy they took out the fence too, because I would have agreed with you to say we should withdraw the application while we notice, because a lot of people are funny about fences. Neighbors can be very funny about fences.
Tim, do you want to proceed with the
I think so, right? Yeah.
I don't know.
Okay, it's just just to
Majority.
remind everyone, it's just there's no FAR variance,
It's a
or
simple.
D variance, it's just a majority vote. And 1, 2, 3, 4, everyone tonight is eligible.
Would someone like to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the application.
I can second.
That's bad.
Joe Giordano,
Yes.
Amy Lauren? Yes. Gary Rosen,
Yes.
Vivian Truitt,
Yes.
Priscilla Serrano,
Yes.
Jessica Black.
Yes.
Congratulations.
Thank
Good
you.
luck.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Can I just ask a question? What happens if it's a tie? Does the chairman's vote carry?
No, it's high.
Tie,
Like if there were 6 and it went 3-3?
you lose.
You lose, because the majority.
You need an affirmative vote.
Thank you. Thanks.
We don't have anything on the agenda for tonight's meeting. So, would someone like to make a motion to adjourn?
Move to adjourn.
So, all in favor? You're on.
Good job,
Greg's out, you're our new chair.
Summer.
That was great.
Well, yeah, you were Switzerland, right?
Switzerland, Greece. We just got that. Yeah, it was great. My brother got married.
Yeah, I remember you
Yeah.
saying, was